Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, government vows not to restructure Treasury bills despite growing concerns of rising interest costs and amount borrowed from the market.
Treasury bills will continue to be a source of revenue for government, a major source of revenue for government. People must be assured that we are not coming back to ask them to sign on to anything.
Also coming up, government explores feasibility of joining BRICS, the alliance of emerging powers, as President Kwawu makes history as first Ghanaian head of state to attend the event.
We've been discussing amongst us. When the president came, there have been some discussions that we've started looking at some of the opportunities that exist within BRICS.
Also, hundreds expected in Osu this weekend to experience Ghana's contemporary culture at the Chalote Festival. Ahead, we'll explore the economic impact. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. And first up, government has assured that it will not take any action in the future to restructure Treasury bills. There are growing concerns that the Finance Ministry may soon move to restructure these bills as interest and amount borrowed hit the roof. But speaking on PM Express Business Edition, Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, said there was no cause for alarm.
The T-bills we launched in December was very successful, 85% participation. So if we are reopening for the
program.
Yes, it doesn't mean you are doing another round of exchange. You cannot equate that to another round of debt exchange. Okay. Secondly, I've just indicated to you that the cocoa bills and then the US dollar and the alternative pension that we are doing are heading towards a great success. The information we have is that we are going to perform over 90% of that. So if you open even in future, it is for the residual, it's for the few that are left, but not to go around doing another DDEP. Okay, and let me also touch on the alternative pension, why it is an alternative pension.
And not a restructuring of the pension.
No. We signed an MOU with the pension schemes that they were not going to participate in the DDEP, but we also stated in the MOU that we will continue to explore to agree to an offer, an option that will help us achieve our objective of debt sustainability. And that understanding was reached. And so if you call it an alternative offer, it is because it is not the same as the DDEP that we launched in December. And so that is the explanation for that. As far as the assurances about T-bills, I don't know how many times you want me to answer that. But let me just take the opportunity to repeat it. We are not going to do DDEP with Treasury bills. Treasury bills must be risk-free. Treasury bills will continue to be a source of revenue for government, a major source of revenue for government, in addition to the other sources that we have. And so people must be assured that we are not coming back to ask them to sign on to anything.
Now, the Association of Ghana Industry says it expects a stable economy to further ensure a reduction in utility tariffs and consequently the cost of operations. Chief Executive Officer of the association, Kwawu, said although the increase in tariffs do not affect industry, the manufacturing subsector is still struggling to break even. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the 12th AGI Ghana Industries and Quality Awards.
The objective of the AGI Awards is to promote excellence through quality management and services. Said Kwawu encourage companies to adopt a standard approach amidst the current economic challenges to their operations and their contribution of quality to the national economy and all aspects of corporate management.
We've not had a worsening situation. And what are the parameters? Is the exchange rate? Is the gas prices or oil oil prices, and then the energy mix between hydro and thermal. And if you look at this, either they remain same or they have improved. So really, we were not expecting an increment in tariffs for industry, and that's exactly what happened. So PURC has done well, and we welcome the current release. It means that if we go by the automatic adjustment formula, when the parameters have been changed, there's no point in changing the tariffs. If parameters improves, then we should have a reduction in the tariff levels. Of course, if it goes up, then some adjustment will also be tolerated.
Meanwhile, President for the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Amfrenyim Dake, reiterated the association's commitment in engaging government in the development of policies that seek to control the importation of selected strategic products that can be produced in the country.
In this dynamic business landscape, where global markets are interconnected and innovation is the driving force, we recognize the vital role that local production plays. It is not just about creating products, it's about fostering resilience, adhering to the right standards, generating employment, and nurturing the spirit of entrepreneurship within our business communities.
The 12th AGI Ghana Industry and Quality Awards will be under the theme Promoting Local Manufacturing in an Ever-Changing Business Climate.
Well, we're heading to South Africa now, where informal conversations have started amongst the ranks of government to explore the feasibility of Ghana joining the BRICS economic bloc. The traditional alliance of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which accounts for over 40% of the world's population, says it is on an outreach program to accommodate more emerging economies. This year, President Kwawu is making history as the first Ghanaian head of state to attend the summit. Speculations arrive that factors that may push Ghana to join BRICS include China, which controls over a third of the country's external debt amounting to some $1.7 billion. Now, speaking to Joy News, Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, Charles Oredu, said the decision to join or not will be informed by national interest.
Over 60 heads of state are gathered in Johannesburg for the 15th BRICS Summit, which is underway here in South Africa. Present is the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is now becoming the first head of state from the Republic of Ghana to be invited for this year's BRICS Summit. Now, the BRICS alliance is simply made up of countries such as Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, except to say that the traditional alliance says it is doing an outreach program to partner more African countries. Is the reason for which more heads of states from across the African continent are gathered here to engage the BRICS bloc and to explore possible partnerships targeted at expanding the frontiers of BRICS. We know now that about 5 more countries have been accredited to be officially considered as members of BRICS. That would include countries such as Ethiopia and other Arab League nations, which made an application to BRICS to formally join the trading bloc. At the doorsteps of BRICS is Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, which is also asking the trading bloc and the economic bloc to give them an opportunity to be a part of BRICS. Ghana has not made the final decision yet to be a member of BRICS, except to say that in my interaction with Ghana's ambassador to South Africa, Charles Oredu, he disclosed that some propositions and considerations may be made in the coming days to ascertain if it will be in the best interest of the country to join officially BRICS. He's been talking to us here in Johannesburg. We're here at the 15th BRICS Summit. President Akufo-Addo has just made his statement calling for a reform of the United Nations Security Council and also the global financial architecture. Why is the president so passionate about the need for reform?
Yeah, thank you. Are we aware that currently the kind of architecture that we have, it's only 5 members who are permanent members who decide for almost everybody. But then within the AU, there was what we call a consensus. There's been a consensus where the AU leaders themselves sat down and then thought that we needed to expand, this architecture. So there've been that conscious effort, to lobby some of these permanent 5 members, to push ahead this expansion. And if you hear, some of these permanent 5 members speak, I think now there's that collective goal that, let's expand. But then how do you do it, and when do we do it? Because the Chinese have wholeheartedly said that, they are ready to allow others to come in. The Russians have said that, even the Americans, the French, the British, they've all said that, others should. But when do we do this? So that's the edge. We want to get this done as quickly as possible. So like you said, in 1945, things were totally different from 1945. The issues then were totally different. But now look at what we face, as even Africa as a continent, the other third world countries. And even now we have emerging global, superpowers. So we need to look at all this and then see how, especially within the African continent, we can take advantage of this expansion and then push ahead some of the concerns that we have.
And the president appears to be so worried about where we find ourselves as a global economy, the fact that we're still facing an economic challenge. He says that now more than ever we need to strengthen our partnership with BRICS. What's the explanation related to that?
It's beyond doubt that BRICS is now a force to reckon with. If you look at the countries, it started with 4. It started with Brazil, it started with Russia, India, and China. Later, they got in South Africa. Today, we've been told that they met and then they've accepted 6 more. So now we have Ethiopia. Within Africa, we have Ethiopia and Egypt. South America, we have Argentina. Within the Arab world, we have UAE and then Saudi Arabia. And then we also have Iran. The total, their global, the combined GDP is now 30% of global GDP, within these 11 countries. So they are forced to reckon with. We've been discussing amongst us. When the president came, there have been some discussions that we've started looking at some of the opportunities that exist within BRICS. Already they do have this bank that countries...
The development bank,
yes.
You mean?
Yeah, that countries have started, accessing credit. And it's helping a lot of countries to develop, to open up their economies, create opportunities for themselves. So we've started looking at it. The president has started looking at it. A decision has not been taken yet.
But when you say looking at it, what's that supposed to mean?
Oh, of course. The opportunities, in there. So what can we get out of this institution? How can Ghana benefit? So he started looking at it. We've had some informal discussions, but of course it's not concrete yet. Yeah. So as and when a formal decision is taken, of course we all know.
It's great that you're bringing this up because the Federal Republic of Nigeria has put in its bid or application to be a member of BRICS. They have not been accepted yet. Is Ghana doing this because of the potential impact if Nigeria gets accepted into BRICS?
Oh, not that. As we speak now, we have 3 African countries. And then it's each country, you look at yourself and then look at the opportunities that you can get from this, from associating with this August organization. I think that Ghana is going to take a decision based on our own needs. We are not going to take a decision because one other country has, formally presented a request.
But that's the feeling that they are the biggest economy, so you also follow.
No, not that. We have our own germane issues. We have our own trajectory, as a country. So we think that when it's right, we will look at all the parameters involved and then a decision will be taken.
And when would that be? Because you're talking about some informal conversations. Is it looking positive that BRICS is willing and open? Because I was speaking to the Global Business Council BRICS chair. She says that BRICS is indeed open to Ghana. So why not take advantage of it now?
So this is the first time a Ghanaian president has been invited to attend BRICS. It's never happened before. Sometimes they look at your posture, they look at how you govern. So once we got this invitation, it should tell you that they are looking at us positively. But then you come in and then you've had some informal discussions, you've read the reports, and then you think that if there are opportunities, yeah, why not? But then we would have to look at it. It's not only the opportunity. There are certain criteria that you also have to look at. So we'll look at it, and then once it's ready, I'm sure that the formal communication will be
And that was Blessed Sugar interviewing Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa on the feasibility of the discussions ongoing informal, we are told, about Ghana joining the BRICS. Now, let's come back home. Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Dan Botry, has reiterated government's efforts to alleviate poverty through targeted poverty alleviation programs. Mr. Botry was speaking at a conference organized by the Institute of Economic Affairs in collaboration with the Chinese Embassy on adopting the Chinese poverty alleviation model in tackling poverty eradication.
Despite several efforts to tackle poverty, not much has been achieved since independence. Although several policy initiatives such as the Program for Action to Mitigate the Social Costs of Adjustment, Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, and many more, arguably, they have not yielded the needed results. With the informal sector dominating the economy, targeted policy and infrastructural development will be key to achieving results. Dan Botry is the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development.
In these discussions, we want to take the China example and say that what was the practice, what were the methods, and when we say people have been eradicated from poverty, is it that now they have something that they are doing with their own hands? They can earn a living sustainably. They don't have to depend on government or other relatives. Then we say they are now out of poverty because they are in some form of employment. Is that what would define alleviation of poverty? So that we can be very practical. We can't have a country where so many programs have been pursued.
Senior scholar at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Professor Alexander Bilson-Darko, blamed the lack of proper implementation and targeted donor support to the growing poverty line.
If we have our nationally crafted poverty reduction strategy, that in itself could attract donor support. We don't need donors to suggest a poverty reduction strategy to us to follow, right? The nation needs to come together to define what poverty is and be able to come out with its own plan of poverty reduction, must have enough resources by itself to pursue it, and donors see that we're doing a good job and want to contribute to it. That will be a blessing to us. China did it exclusively with some support, but almost exclusively on their own, okay? So it can be done.
Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yaoba, urged government to emulate the Chinese model of poverty alleviation.
Therefore, if we target women, especially those who are single mothers, support their children, to support themselves, to go to school, eventually those children will lift the whole family out of poverty. So in the long term, within 10 years, 12 years, you see those children you see down there, 5 years playing football, they take themselves out of poverty, take their mother out of poverty. So it's important to target. And the Chinese model, which we are here to learn about, is what they call the targeted. And the professor was using the word precision poverty. You need to be precise in poverty alleviation. And so the ability of Ghana to target those who really need, support is very, very key.
The conference, which was organized on the theme, Plotting China's Poverty Alleviation Model in West Africa, was put together by the Institute of Economic Affairs in collaboration with the Chinese Embassy in Ghana.
You're watching The Marketplace. It's arguably the biggest event taking place this weekend here in Accra. Hundreds of art lovers and tourists, people just looking to have fun, are expected to throng also as the art festival Chalote draws to a close. And joining me for our newly created segment, Show Business. Yeah, we're going to be discussing show business, for that matter, the business of entertainment every Friday, because there's a lot happening. And, well, guess who's going to be here every Friday to discuss that with me? Our culture journalist with myjoyonline.com, Kenneth Aochu-Daku. Great to have you on this segment on The Marketplace, the debut. Well, I want to first begin with the Chalote Festival, which is, I think, one of the biggest art festivals here in the country. At the moment, we've seen some expansion this year, haven't we? And so tell us what's changing about Chalote and the anticipation as we head into the final days of the event.
Yeah, so it has been about 3 or 4 days, started on Monday. And the biggest difference this time is that it started in Jamestown. By this time, they are bringing it to Usu, and that's where the event has been taking place since Monday up until now. There have been also some changes in terms of sponsors, like the multimedia group is on board, the Joy Prime brand is pushing this event very, intensely. So the amplification in terms of the noise has been very, very resounding. And so the change in venue and also the fact that multimedia is on board. So for the past 4 days, there have been a lot of activations. We've seen processions from Monday up until yesterday. There was also some film screenings. Today, there are going to be a lot of, art exhibitions as well. There's going to be some drama, among other things. Now, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday are also very, very big days because there's also like a musical wing to it. And there's going to be like a big concert that is going to be hosted. There's going to be the lives of Amanziba, among others, who are also going to be on there. So it's going to be like a big event, especially from today going. So those who haven't had the chance to be there from Monday up until this point, I think tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday are the days that they should show up.
Great. And well, the reason we're making noise about Chalote is its potential to bring in income for the country. And so, but I want us to first talk about our earnings from the tourism sector as it currently stands right now. So we get a picture of how much we are earning and how Chalote could become a major income earner as well.
I think the geographical location of Ghana itself makes it a very big tourism hub. I mean, the fact that we are on the Greenwich Meridian line, it's something that's already attracting. And looking at the fact that we have a very rich history in terms of like the culture, the slave trade, among other things, we have forts and all of that. There has been a lot of, attraction in terms of that. So even from the jump, Ghana is already a place where tourism is supposed to be very, very, is hammered on very, very much. Now, if you talk about the numbers, it is also reflecting in there because up until 2019, that was the year of return, right? So there was tourism contributed about 5% to the country's GDP. And when we are talking about contribution to that, when it comes to the exchange rate earnings, Ghana was fourth behind gold, cocoa, and then oil and gas.
Tourism was fourth, you say?
Yeah, it was fourth behind all of those sectors. And so from the jump, tourism is one big thing. And so having an event such as Chalote, which sort of encompasses all the aspects of arts happening here in the heart of Accra, is something that is very important. And so, in terms of the numbers, it's reflecting a lot. And we are hoping that, because also in 2019, let me add that there was about 1.1 million international travels in Ghana, which were tourism related. You understand? And so there was also, when it comes to receipts as well, there were about $3 billion in terms of receipts around that same time in 2019. And so you have the opportunity to replicate that this year. I mean, why not do the same thing at Chalote? So it's a very big event, and we are hoping that this event, continues to be as bustling as it's going, and then help, ensure that by the end of the festivities out on Sunday, there's going to be, a lot of effects in the economic sector.
Yeah, and I think that we've seen some artists from outside of Ghana also take part in this, at least from the footages I've seen from there. What can we do to leverage Chalote and make it something bigger than what it is right now, investing in our arts, for instance?
So the whole ecosystem of the creative arts sector is something that feeds, each component is sort of on its own, but also feeds into other sectors as well. The fact that Chalote itself is happening in Usu right now, those who were there during the times where it was hosted in Jamestown, they'll tell you about how the economic situation of the area, was bustling, and also having the fact that people have to trade. There are other businesses that go around during the art exhibitions, amongst others. The community itself has, the potential to hold some of the money that come into the system over there. Because the fact that there are exhibitions going on means that there's also going to be people selling food. There's going to be people selling, their wear, their designs, amongst other things. And so there's money revolving in that particular community at that same time. And when it comes to the artists themselves, the musicians, the creatives, they themselves, they are able to also expand their tentacles and also tap into the international recognition that comes around that same period. And also they are able to collaborate with other people to make sure that their work goes out. And so if you've positioned your brand very, very well, it's a very good avenue for you to expand and reach other people. And in terms of that, you're able to also be able to stay afloat in every sector that you find yourself in.
Yeah, and it's getting a boost this year because the multimedia group is also partnering the event, and so that's great. And so if anybody should go there this weekend, what are they going to see?
There is going to be a whole lot of activities, right? Even there's going to be a cookout as well. Mm-hmm. There's going to be masquerade jamborees. There's going to be a very big musical concert as well. There's going to be street art festivals. I mean, street art exhibitions as well. You're going to be meeting a lot of international, media as well. There's going to be a lot of coverage in terms of, the arts that the country has to, explore, amongst other things. So there's a whole lot to
and I think taking it to Osu even makes it bigger because we know Osu has a lot of history.
Yeah.
We know the castle there, the Christiansborg Castle. Yeah. That's where, when you talk about slavery, some of the issues or the stories concerning slavery, some of them unfolded there as well. That was also the seat of the government at the point.
And so it makes it very interesting because there have been, as just you mentioned, there are footages. Those who have been there have already expressed how profound that the experience that he had over there is. And even some of the film screenings that have happened so far, some of them have taken place at the castle as well. And so there's a lot of activity going around. And mind you, the Gamashi just finished their Homo celebration,
that's true,
just about a week ago. And there are other, festivities in terms of like the Ga communities lined up coming. So, there's like a lot of other events that are going to piggyback off of this, Charlie Water Festival. So we're just hoping for the best and that people show up as well.
Thank you so much. Culture journalist with myjournalline.com, Kenneth Awoshidaku, join us for Show Business. Look out for him next week. He's going to be here to talk about something else, and that's the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjournalline.com/business. Be disciplined to reap full benefits of investment. Access Pension Board Chair. There you can read more about that, myjournalline.com/business. My name is Daryl. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend.